On the road to 2024 general elections, NCP chief Sharad Pawar has asserted that opposition need not announce a prime ministerial candidate. This comes after Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal suggested that Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge be the prime ministerial face from the opposition for opposition side. And this suggestion was made during the INDIA bloc's December 19 meeting in Delhi. Mr. Pawar drew historical parallels and said that this happened back in 1977 also, when Morarji Desai was nowhere in the race before the elections and the opposition fought without a Prime Minister face. He said that people will make their choices regardless of whether the opposition presents a PM face or not, especially if they have already decided on a change. Now, the BJP, meanwhile, has hit out on the INDIA bloc, saying that the confusion within the alliance is once again out in the open, with clear lines drawn between the Congress, which bats for the Gandhis, and the regional satraps. Will this dilemma, among other national issues, hurt the INDIA bloc politically? That's our second debate. More importantly, the leadership question, many argue, is a fundamental question for the opposition to answer. It looks like they wouldn't want to answer it before the 2024 big battle. Our focus on brass tacks.
क्या हुआ तुरंत से सोचे केले किया तुरंत से नहीं केले कि सेशन फैसला बहुत सस्ता लोग रोडल प्रदेश में स्थिति में आगे से लोग निर्णय घेर
हमारे पास एक से ज्यादा चॉइस है प्राइम मिनिस्टर के लिए। बीजेपी के पास तो एक ही घिसा पिटा चेहरा है 10 साल से 15 साल से, और क्या है?
Once again, the confusion in the India alliance is out in the open. After Mamata Banerjee and Aam Aadmi Party proposed the name of Mr. Kharge as the prime ministerial face of India alliance, now Sharad Pawar ji has come out categorically and vetoed down the proposal, saying that there is no need for such a face. We have already seen Nitish Kumar ji's party come out and say Kharge Farge. And this is not the first time this kind of fight has happened.
It's a dilemma, or it's a question that they can't answer. We'll know more from our guests who are joining us on the broadcast. Mr. R.P. Singh, the national spokesperson of the BJP, continues to be with us on the broadcast. We also have Mr. George Kurian, who's a political analyst. We also have Clyde Castro, who's a spokesperson of the NCP from the Sharad Pawar faction, and Mr. R. Rajgopalan, who's a senior journalist. But I want to come to you, Mr. R.P. Singh, first. One of the biggest criticism of the BJP has been that they'll not be able to answer anything to the people of this country when it comes to the question of leadership. Mr. Sharad Pawar has raised an interesting precedent or an analogy. He says, look at back in 1977, even that time a cluster of political parties came together. And if people have made up their minds to vote against the BJP, it doesn't matter who really is leading. Do you really buy that argument?
Well, majority of them contested from the jail. I mean, they were in jail or probably in process of being released from the jail that time, and it was time of emergency and atrocities by Mrs. Indira Gandhi. All civil rights were curbed, and people were thrown behind bar. Lakhs of people were thrown behind bar, and we know how. I mean, I am product of emergency because I stood against the emergency that time, and I jumped into the public life thereafter. Yeah. But today there is a huge difference. We just recently saw the elections in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Rajasthan. And even that for that reason, even Telangana, where we went ahead from 7% to probably 14.5% now, and from 1 seat to 8 seats. So people know what is what. I mean, and the problem is that they don't have a leader today, they don't have any policies, and neither they have intent. People don't see their intentions also, the people with right intentions also. We have a leader as Prime Minister Modi, as a leader. We have a party and an alliance with a leader. We have policies where we have given 55 crore people the health insurance. I mean, the biggest health insurance in the world. where we have given 11 crore people the Kisan Samman Nidhi. So we have policies. I can keep on with those public welfare policies which we have done, and how economic trajectory is on the right path, and how
So you believe all these things, when taken to the people of this country, they will re-elect the BJP. That's what you're arguing, Mr. RP Singh. Mr. Rajgopalan,
yes,
the fact that the BJP is saying, look, we have had a public welfare model at the helm of affairs. We have ensured that the benefits reach the last person who needs these benefits, a citizen who is deprived of certain basic essential resources. We have made sure that there's a food security program, there's a medical insurance program running in from the government, and that's the reason why people are going to vote for Brand Narendra Modi. The key question for the opposition since the very beginning, ever since this alliance has been formed, is who against Prime Minister Narendra Modi? This has become an election of faces, especially at the level of the central elections or the Lok Sabha elections. Do you think that this argument from Mr. Sharad Pawar will really stick? Is that really a plausible plan for the opposition parties? Mr. Rajgopal.
I don't think so. Mr. Sharad Pawar may be an elder statesman, but his analogy is not at all applicable to the present dispensation. We are in 2023. What Mr. Sharad Pawar said is also right, 1977. Since then, I have been covering Indian Parliament. I know what is what. But, Anushaji, you have to understand one important thing. Why Mr. Yogi Adityanath was repeated. Why in Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Congress was totally decimated. Why? Fourth time. Madhya Pradesh, fourth time they are returning to power, fifth time Gujarat. So these are all certain factors. Mr. Sharad Pawar knows it, but he wants to hide it because of the contradictions in the confusion in the alliance.
Okay.
My understanding of the opposition is there is
yes,
no
Clyde,
face.
I'm coming to you. Yeah.
There is no face of anyone. There is no common minimum program. What is that India alliance stand for? Ram Mandir. Article 370. Therefore, there should be a policy paper.
Okay.
Anushaji, you are left with only 45 days to face the election. By middle of February, the elections may be announced, or early March. So you have got left only with 2 months. Are you going to solve your problems? Contradictions. There are internal contradictions within the Congress, within the JDU, because JDU is the president of the JDU has just now resigned a short while ago.
Yeah.
So things are not that
Mr.
good for
Rajgopalan,
opposition.
I frankly agree with most of the points that you have made. And Clyde, you might draw that analogy. Nobody's questioning the experience of Mr. Sharad Pawar. He is the most veteran politician and also touted as one of the first Chanakya of Indian politics. But Mr. Rajgopalan is right when he points out that the argument is misplaced. Those circumstances were very different. Those situations were very different. Today, what you're facing in Indian polity is absolutely different. You can't get away. You can't perform well in these elections as a united opposition force if you don't have a leadership face.
Why not? Why can't we fight together? I mean, the example that Mr. Sharad Pawar gave was a reference to context from a journalist, that question that was asked. But I'd like to say, what is the issue here? If a group of people have come together, they want to serve the people of the country, and we are following the democratic process. The democratic process is once the elections are over, okay, the elected representatives select the leader. So this is what has happened. Mr. Kharge himself has said, let's win the elections first and then we'll decide. I mean, some people have suggested, according to sources, which the media gave out to us, but the fact of the matter is that we have many leaders within the India alliance that are capable enough to be the Prime Minister of this country. But tell me something, does anybody from the NDA that is led by the BJP have the guts to say that, okay, we have another face that can lead the country? And my thing is, don't tell me that there's no other face. What about Mr. Nitin Gadkari? What about Mr. Amit Shah? Why can't they be the leaders of the NDA and become
but
the
Clyde, that's for BJP to decide. I mean,
No, so that's
if
exactly
the
so.
opposition
But
can't
let me
decide
finish.
who's going
No,
to
no,
lead
no.
them, why would you decide for BJP? Who they want to be led by?
Now let me finish. You allowed everybody else to talk. You interjected what I'm saying. I request you to listen to me. That's exactly the point. It is our prerogative who we decide, when we decide, why we decide, and what we want to do. So why is everybody else jumping, trying to figure out that we do not have a leader? So if they have their prerogative to decide who they want to project as the leader, it is our prerogative to decide how, when, and why that we have a leader.
All right. No, Clyde, I take that point. Clyde, I take that point. Clyde, I take that point that BJP.
Can I finish?
Yes, finish your point. Finish your point.
Last thing, what I don't understand is, how everybody else is behaving like a fly on the wall as to what India Alliance is doing within closed doors, or how somebody else's mind is working. I mean, come on.
Sir, the best part is you don't have to be a fly on the wall. Sir, you made your point. Now let me say my points and then you can come back. Clyde, you made your point. Now please listen to me. Sir, you don't have to be. No, sir, you've referred to the last thing. Now listen to my point. You don't have to be a fly on the wall to know what Mr. Sharad Pawar said. You don't have to be a fly on the wall to know what Mr. Arvind Kejriwal and Mamta Banerjee proposed the name of Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. You don't have to be a fly on the wall to know that Mr. Nitish Kumar has been touted as one of the key faces who can be the convener of that particular alliance. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be healthy competition, but Mr. Rajgopalan gave you the right, sir, listen to my question. But Mr. Rajgopalan gave you the right reality check that elections are just around the corner. In next 45 days, you might have the announcement, and leadership in today's polity is an important issue, sir.
Agreed, leadership is important, but who is not leading? We are all together, working together as leaders. So what's the harm in that? You are willing to listen to what Mr. Rajgopalan is saying, not willing to listen to me. Then what can I say?
Sir, I have heard you. I have given you more time than any other panelist. So please don't give me that.
But 5 times interjected me while hearing me out, while you patiently listen to everybody else.
Sir, I interjected Mr. R.P. Singh also. I have interjected other panelists also. I think, sir, when has interjection become a form of disrespect? I don't know. Interjection used to be a welcome thing in the debating culture, right? So I don't think that's an offense. I want to go to Mr. George Kurian. Mr. George Kurian, do you think that the question of leadership can be really avoided? I mean, you can play deaf to the demands of today's polity, or the kind of comments that Mr. Rajgopalan made or various other political analysts would make, that anybody who has observed the Indian politics in the last 10 years would tell you that the days of coalition in many ways are gone. People want certainty, and at the central level, at the leadership level, the Prime Minister represents a certain brand of politics. If you want to counter it as an opposition, we need a healthy opposition in this country. You need to present certain degree of certainty, tangibility. People need to know that against Prime Minister Narendra Modi, this is the alternate leadership that the opposition of this country is offering. Nobody is questioning their potential or their ability to lead the country. But we at least need to know who would be the face of the opposition if they are voted back to power. Mr. George Kurian.
Well, Anusha, for the benefit of your audience, let me put it up front that there is no dearth of potential leaders in the India bloc, as we know, and there are many of them, over 4 decades of experience of administrative or be it legislative. So, having said that, India bloc is united. Mr. Sharad Pawarji has given his point of view, and there is nothing wrong in it. We have a constitutional way of electing the prime ministerial face once the elections are over and the results are out.
Yeah.
At this point in time, what the India bloc is focused at this point in time is that we want to ensure that we live up to the expectations of the people, and forming of a inclusive manifesto, carrying everybody along. Inflation is a big issue that we want to counter, be it unemployment in this country and things like that. So we are not going to give this much importance, and this is being blown out of proportion at this point in time.
You're saying this is being blown out of proportion at this point in time. We are not 2 years away from the elections, sir. We're barely 45 days away from the election. Mr. Rajgopalan, is this really something that can be taken with that degree of political euphemism, like Clyde is pointing out, or George Kurian is pointing out, that we don't need a leadership face, we'll decide as and when the situation comes. Is this feigning ignorance, or this is trying to avoid an uncomfortable question?
Anusha, I respect all other panelists. I don't dispute their contentions. But my only point, as you repeatedly elaborated, we are left with only 45 days, number one. There is no face, there is no agenda, there is no niti, nor niyat. And apart from that, if you have a conglomeration of leaders, that gives you an idea for the public perception, as Narendra Modi said, one versus all. मैं एक ही है, बाकी कब बारी पड़ता हूँ. So that type of concept is getting into the minds of the voters.
Right.
Why the 4 elections, 5 elections, BJP is winning repeatedly. In some places, they got defeated also. I do agree. So the double engine concept has gone gelled with the people, whereas the multiple engines and no bogey in the opposition side.
All right. Mr. R.P. Singh, that question was for the BJP, and I'm going to reiterate that. An interesting point that Clyde made, that there are many faces within the BJP also. There's healthy competition that can exist within the BJP as well. Why is BJP so worried about the opposition unity? After all, we are their political opponents. They might as well be happy we don't have an opposition face.
Well, who is worried? I mean, we know what's going to happen. Everyone in the country knows, right from you to any person on the road knows that what's going to happen with the opposition unity. I mean, Arvind Kejriwal, Mamta Banerjee has played their card by putting Mr. Kharge's name, so that they have dug out both Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra both out of the system. And then so is Sharad Pawar ji now playing his card, because all of them want to be the Prime Minister. I mean, including Sharad Pawar ji want to be Prime Minister, Arvind Kejriwal want to be Prime Minister, Mamta Banerjee want to be Prime Minister, Farooq Abdullah want to be Prime Minister, Uddhav Thackeray want to be Prime Minister, Akhilesh Yadav want to be Prime Minister. Only way they can project is they can say, okay, for Monday one will be there, Tuesday Mr. Yadav can be, or for Sunday probably Mr. Farooq Abdullah.
Well, sir, that's not the kind of government and that's not the kind of leadership we would want in this country. I think we would want certain degree of certainty. Clyde, I'll come back to you. You have a point to make. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Anish, I just want to clarify a couple of things to you. One is to you and the viewers. I don't need to tell this to the BJP. So that, Mr. Sharad Pawar has very clearly said and very categorically said that he is not in the race for becoming the Prime Minister of this country. He just wants to serve the people as long as he can. Okay. That's one point. The other thing, you said something very interesting, and I'd like to elaborate on that.
Sure.
And I'm not sure about being verbatim as to what you said, but you said, something to the extent of, the coalition politics does not work at this moment in time or in this current scenario. If that is the case, Anusha, through you and through your channel, I will tell the BJP, if they believe it so, that, the coalition government doesn't work or coalition coming together does not work, then why is the BJP with the NDA? Tomorrow morning, come early morning, go ahead and declare that BJP is going to contest the forthcoming elections everywhere in the country, whether it's general election or any elections, on their own steam. They do not want any coalition. They're not going to be partners with the NDA. We are invincible, so we will only fight alone. So they can go ahead and declare that. Why are they not doing so? The fact of the matter is that what is the role of opposition in a democracy? Is to show a mirror to the incumbent government. And that's what a group of people have come together, and they are working towards giving India a better government, better governance. What is the harm? That's healthy democracy that we are following. So if we are coming together and doing something, it's healthy. BJP should accept it, and everybody else should accept it, that India is going towards a healthy democracy.
No, Clyde, interesting points that you made there. There are two ways of looking at coalition politics in this country. One is a bottom-up, one is a top-down. Top-down is when you look at it from the perspective of political parties, and are they really forming alliances and are they fighting elections together. One is to observe the Indian polity by the way and the manner in which people have really voted. Look at the 3 assembly elections. Not just that, look at the results in Karnataka as well, where it is the two political parties, BJP and Congress, which have got decisive mandate in their favor respectively. In the Hindi heartland, it has been the BJP. In Karnataka, once again, it has been the Congress party. In Telangana, yet again, that's the example that has come out, whether at the state level or at the central level. People want to make very, very clear choices. And that's the trend that has emerged. And that's the point where I'm coming to you, that forget the political parties, forget what BJP is saying. Your people at large, citizens yearning for growth, need clarity. Who will lead you? They don't want khichdi politics. And that is why, sir, the leadership phase becomes very important.
No, absolutely. But that's what I'm trying to say, Anusha. I'm very happy that I'm actually on a debate with you, because you seem to be an anchor who knows political science more than just politics that's happening in this country. So I'm very happy that you're making this point. The point here is for the people to judge whether they look at it from bottom up or up to bottom. And that's why people in Karnataka, people in Telangana, and people in different states have decided. So let the people decide. If the people think that if they do not have a face or a singular face, let the people decide that. I mean, we can sit here and debate to kingdom come, but let the people decide.
My last question to you, and please try and answer it briefly. When Mr. Sharad Pawar, a tall leader like him within the INDI alliance, I believe one of the senior most leaders, disagrees with the nomination of Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge as the prime ministerial face, what does it tell us about that alliance?
Well, first and foremost, I'll be brief about this. There's no question of disagreement to anything. Secondly, everybody in that India alliance has the choice of, sort of supporting or saying that we would like to see this person as a prime minister. But Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge ji himself said that, I'm not in the race, so I think let's win this election first. So what Mr. Pawar said is supported the same thing. So there's no question of disagreeing with anybody.
Okay.
I repeat it again. We'll come together and choose a leader that will serve this country and give good governance.
Mr. Rajgopalan, Mr. Rajgopalan, make your point. Mr. Rajgopalan, make that point. But I also want you to elaborate upon the political costs for the opposition if they don't decide on the leadership name. There are two scenarios, theoretically speaking. I'm not going to the practicalities of it. One is that they get the mandate in their favor, 1977, like Mr. Sharad Pawar said, theoretically. And the other is that people want a clear leadership face from the opposition as well. What are the political costs at stake for the opposition alliance? Mr. Rajgopalan.
Well, the opposition alliance is at the receiving end from the voters, because Uttar Pradesh is a glaring example, Anusha. Madhya Pradesh is a glaring example. Fresh in the mind of the people that 2024 is a clear-cut case for Mr. Narendra Modi, because opposition leaders are fighting each other. Mamata Banerjee is saying pulling down Congress. Congress is pulling down another party. There is no policy centric of the opposition unity. And your question is a valid question. What you asked me is a valid question. My answer is also the valid. The opposition is fragmented, and in the latest issue of Indian Parliament, they should not have boycotted it in the earlier one, and later they should not have, because it sends a wrong message to the public.
All right. I will have the closing comments from Mr. George Corey and Mr. R.P. Singh. Mr. R.P. Singh, is this a lost battle for the opposition, as Mr. Rajgopalan is really arguing?
Well, I don't see any battle at all, because as Mr. Rajgopalan was saying, let me take it further. Will Mamata Banerjee accept left party in Bengal? No, she is not going to accept it at all. She has already made it clear that she is not going to accept left in Bengal. Will Congress and Aam Aadmi go together in Punjab? I can place a bet on it. None of them will go together in Punjab, because Mr. Bajwa is on record, has said that we are not going to go along with Aam Aadmi Party, and he is on record saying that he is already in touch with 35 MLAs of the Aam Aadmi Party, and otherwise also 5 ministers, former ministers and former ex-chief minister has been in jail, or probably out on bail right now.
Interesting.
Who were put in jail by the Vigilance Department of the Aam Aadmi Party. So how do you think, even if
So
they
you
come
don't
together
see
for a photo
you don't see a battle at all, George
give me a
Korean.
second, give me another second, 5 seconds. 5 seconds, ma'am, please. If even they club a unity together, the workers are not going to come together. Remember 2019, Sapa and Baspa came together in UP. What happened thereafter?
Yes. The Samajwadi Party and the Congress came together. That didn't work either. At the level of the political workers really coming together and working to augment that point, Mr. R.P. Singh. Mr. George Korean, theoretically, okay, you might say that we don't have a leader face. We'll decide it later on, but it has huge political costs, and it is argued. I put that argument on the table, open to being debated by you, that this is already a lost battle for the opposition parties.
Well, Anusha, let me reassure to your audience that, the United Bloc is going to fight collectively, and we're going to put forward our common minimum program, and we will leave it to the wisdom of the people to, choose the leader. And there is no dearth, as I said, there is no dearth of leaders. We have many leaders, that's the point, and capable leaders who can lead this top job.
Let's see how that really turns out. At the end of the day, it's going to be the Janta Janardhan, the people of this country, who will decide in 2024 who will shape their destiny for the next 5 years. If we want to be the $5 trillion economy, then it has to be a decisive political leadership that takes us forward. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, and thank you so much for being a part of this debate and discussion tonight here on Brass Tacks. If the opposition members are able to come up with a leadership phase, well, that will be an opposition and a battle to watch out for. But if there is no leadership phase, is this already a lost battle for the opposition parties? All eyes on 2024. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Brass Tacks. Thank you so much for watching.